welcome to another wonderful Wednesday. We've made it full circle, and we're here again on The Stoop, bringing you what's new in news, silly season, pop culture, and everything else in between. My name is Janae.
I'm Les.
And I'm Anika.
And ladies, again, we're here, and I want to talk about what's hot and what's new, girls.
Well, I want to start off with the Grammys. A quick recap.
Yes.
The Grammys took place Sunday night, the biggest night in music, and what can I say? Adele. Adele cleaned up. It was definitely her night. Her night and Beyonce. Honestly, it was just about the two of them. It was Beyonce and Adele's night. Sunday night.
But Adele won the top prize, right? And she broke it off for everybody.
Yeah, in fact, she won all 5 of the awards that she was nominated for.
Really?
So good for her.
I loved it. So, usually I never really tune into the Grammys because I feel like, you know, sometimes it's boring. I don't love the performances, but I actually enjoyed all of them. Congratulations too to Chance the Rapper that took the whole award show to church. Hallelujah. Get you some Jesus.
But fun fact, I think he's actually the first Grammy winner to not have any album sales.
No album sales, and no, he's not signed to a label. I think he's the first black one since 1999. We have to fact check that. But Chance the Rapper broke history, like made history rather, that night. And of course, Queen B. I mean, who else you know could lean back in this beautiful wooden chair, pregnant with twins, looking like a sun goddess? Queen B, we love you so much. Thank you for that delightful performance. You are just everything.
But if you were tuning in on social media, there were mixed reviews.
I don't care about what social media has to say.
Yes.
Haters gonna say it's Photoshop. Haters always got something to
I
say.
get it. Haters gonna hate, but there were some people that definitely, they were expecting some dance. Which, I mean, my thing is, if you're pregnant with twins, I would not be dancing if I was pregnant with twins.
You know what my problem is with
Definitely
people?
not.
Let me see you get pregnant with twins and start doing Millie Rock. I want to see you Millie Rock and Juju on the beat pregnant with twins. Queen Bee came out here and pretty much levitated, and you can't please y'all. Shut up.
I'm just going to reserve my comments. The only thing I would have changed about Grammy night would have been the sound issues. They had major sound issues.
Yes.
You couldn't hear half of the performances. But anyway, we're moving on.
Yeah. So talking about legends, there's a new biopic on Michael Jackson's monkey, or the perspective of his monkey, by Taika Waititi. And I don't know about you guys, but it seems pretty odd.
It does.
Pretty odd.
Yeah.
You know what? I have mixed emotions about biopics because they hardly do them right. They botched up. Not they, because it wasn't Taika Waititi that directed it. But Whitney Houston's biopic was, I mean, they did it no justice. And I think it's such an offense, an injustice to the dead. May they rest in peace. So, you know, the biopic stuff, you can miss me with it. I don't care for it.
And for the director, he's saying that it's supposed to be an animated film. So I guess that is a little pass, I guess, that he's getting.
I feel like Michael Jackson would actually love that, though. You don't think so?
That it's animated, or that it's from the perspective of his monkey?
His monkey, like, this is what he wanted in life, you know?
Nico, but I don't blame
child. But moving on to some more celebrity news. Nick Cannon has left
AGT.
America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. I choked up on there. But Nick Cannon has left America's Got Talent over some racist joke. According to the network, or according to him, he found out from his team that they were threatening to fire him after he made some comedic joke during his own stand-up experience.
Regarding
Black people. So I'm very confused as to how did this joke become racist when he was talking about people from his own race.
And
not
here's
about
the
white
thing.
people.
You know, we don't know the full story. All we know is that his new comedy special came out on Showtime recently. And during his set, yes, he made some jokes, some racial jokes or whatever the case may be, which are apparently a breach of his contract with NBC. Naturally, we don't know what their side is, and we don't know the truth. As they say, there are 3 sides to every story. So I just find there's so many holes, and not taking away anything that he is saying, but because we don't actually know what the joke was, or what is a part of his contract actually, it's a little sketchy and shady to me, what's going on. No, I was just going to say, I think that maybe this might have been an out for them. That's what I was going to lead up to, that maybe if he had heard that they wanted to fire him, they might have been looking to do that for a while and use this as an opportunity. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think regardless of the fact, it sounds to me as if it's like trying to hold him in this box and say,
Of course.
I mean, if it's your own show, he has his own career, he's a comedian, and comedians say what they need to say and get the joke out, so why threaten his
if
job
it's a
over
breach
this?
of contract. Anyway, like I said, we don't know the full-on details, so it's so hard to speculate. I just think it's unfortunate because he truly is a good host. A lot of people respond well to him, and he just knows how to, get the contestants going, and of course, floss in those suits. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do from here.
So you know what that means. We'll have to see him on Netflix. And talking about Netflix, there's been a new study that came out that says that people or couples are cheating using Netflix.
Yep.
Yeah.
Listen, and we are watching a show together, and I leave home and you watch an episode of something and I ain't there, that's big fight. Don't try to play surprise when we watch it together, like, oh, you just seeing the scene for the first time, because I could see through the lies. I could see through the faking.
And
You're
therefore
cheating on
you've
me.
cheated.
You're cheating
But
on
let me tell you something, though. I am so guilty of that because I have absolutely done
That's
that
no
in the
fun.
past. It isn't, well, it's fun for me because granted,
movie
yes,
buff.
we start watching the show together and for whatever reason, I happen to be able to, catch an episode or two when you're not around. Honey, I ain't gonna promise that I'm not going to click
She looks like a cheater.
play.
Though.
I was just
She
saying,
looks
you look like a cheater, and she's the type of
I
cheater.
am a Netflix cheater.
A
Listen,
Netflix cheater,
She's
yes.
the kind of cheater who'll be
Yes.
like, baby, I just slipped. I'm so sorry, man. The banana was
that's
just
the
there and I
only time
just
she
slipped.
slips.
Listen where y'all going.
Fell in the whole thing.
No. Don't get this twisted.
Fell into the whole season.
We are talking
season, the
about
whole
Netflix. I admit, yes, I am
That's
a
lack
Netflix
of
cheater.
loyalty.
I am a binge watch cheater. Yes, I said it.
Yeah.
But that is it.
That's
Wow.
lacking loyalty.
Let's
but
not
if
get
you're
this twisted.
cheating, you're gonna be single for sure. And according to Cosmopolitan article
No
and
shade.
yeah, no shade, no tea, girl. According to Cosmo, there's a study that's been done that says that being single is better. And I am here to tell you people my opinion. I do not agree. I believe that being single for a certain period of time is okay. I do believe that being single can be and should be a choice. Should you be single forever if you can help it? No. Companionship is a beautiful thing, and it's exactly what God intended for our lives. So celebrate love if you can find someone worthy of it.
This particular article was talking about couples being so insular, and that was the danger. And somehow there's some scientific, backlash to this. But I can say, as a single person, no, it's beautiful. I do agree with you. It's not necessarily something that should be for the rest of your life, because I don't feel for real that God intended one to
be alone.
basically go back the way we came, living alone. But no, being single, it's a good thing. There really, truly are some advantages to it. And one of the things I think is that you get to think a little bit more freely and independently. When you are in a couple, I find sometimes you lose a bit of yourself. Obviously, this isn't cookie cutter. This doesn't apply to everybody.
I wish they would extend these studies, right? Like, what age group are we really talking about?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, when you get 35 to 40, are you really this happy? Come on.
Exactly,
You're
because
not.
I believe, listen,
You're not.
in your 20s, it's great. You have all the freedom in the world. You get to explore your career. You get to travel the world, and there's
Yeah.
nobody and no situation kind of holding you down, and you have to think about somebody else. But I think even closer to your late 20s, after you've somewhat established yourself, established your career, it's really great to have someone to share that with.
Yeah,
Someone
it
to say,
is.
let's have a bottle of
Exactly.
champagne together.
Yeah.
And you
No,
know,
it
it's
really
beautiful.
is.
The older you get and you get into these relationships, then you have the smallest wedding possible.
Yes.
If I can
Or
give you a
none.
word of advice, child, by the time you get to 35, 40, Joe, just go to Vegas, please.
Listen,
Just go to Vegas.
you don't even have to wait that long.
Oh my
If you're
gosh.
just gonna get married, I say elope, okay? I told y'all before,
I agree.
and I'll tell y'all again. I remember being like 12 years old and thinking I'm gonna have a small shindig. Lord, y'all don't hold me to this now. If I decide to have a big one, anyhow, y'all
So
be
like,
digging up this
why don't we
video.
share this horror story with you then, Les, and maybe you'll continue on this road.
Yeah.
There was a story that came out about a couple that spent over $300,000 on their wedding. And during the rehearsal dinner the night before, well, gosh darn, there was a fight, and the wedding got called right off. basically throwing all of that money down the drain, which could have gone to a nice, cool education for my 10 kids.
You know what? The families, though, they are now, I believe, suing each other.
They are.
The fiance is suing the fiance for the ring. He wants the ring back because the ring was apparently over $125,000.
You know what this
ring.
is, right? This is rich people problems. You ever
Is
hear
that
rich
right?
people complain about, oh, well, you know, like what Kanye did, you know, oh, Versace doesn't want to sign me, woe is me, but Nike, shut up. Oh my God. You know what you could do with $325,000? So much. You can change the world with that. You can help to stop world hunger with that. So yes, I agree
Each
with the
person
loping.
in Nassau and each person in the Bahamas can get $1.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This is
Everybody,
true, right?
Nobody left
Everybody
out.
could have $1.
Something fabulous.
Seriously, I want to elope for sure. I literally want to take a boat over to Exuma, hop on one key in my bathing suit. I want to get married in my swimsuit, like no shoes on, just me and my loved one and
Easy
couple
breezy.
witnesses,
Exactly.
and call it a day because my main concern is just being
And you know what?
married.
You save a lot of money.
Yep, I want to live
Exactly.
somewhere.
So after the break, we're talking with Miss Nikita Shiel-Rolle from Young Marine Explorers about what's really going on with our coral reefs. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. And welcome back to The Stew. Today we're talking with Nikita Shiel-Rolle. She's a youth development leader and Icon Award winner, and she is giving us everything we need to know on our coastlines and everything else happening in the Bahamas. So let's bring out Miss Nikita Shiel-Rolle.
Good morning.
Great to be here. That's great.
So Nikita, I mean, the past few years have been a whirlwind, right? You started Young Marine Explorers. You know, the first time I kind of got wind of you was when Waves came out, which is a documentary you did on what's happening in the Bahamas with our coastlines and marine biology as a whole. No, I mean, we're surrounded by water. How did you actually get started with this, and what's really going on with the marine life in our country?
Okay, so this marine science journey really started for me when I was 13, and I got my second summer job at Stewart Coves, and as a 13-year-old working on a snorkel boat, and I was giving tourists masks and snorkels, and I was being paid to swim and look at fish and corals. I was like, this is where it's at.
Yes.
So that's kind of like what started it, and I got certified that summer. And then I just became completely obsessed with the ocean. And, you know, I took a year off after I graduated, and I worked as an underwater photographer, also at Stewart Coves, which was a fantastic experience. And then I went to college, and I did my undergrad at University of Miami. And it was there, I've always sort of had this idea that I wanted to start an organization, and it was something that I used to talk about when I was in high school. But it wasn't until I was in my undergrad year, I started working with a researcher at University of Miami. And we were doing work in the Bahamas, and actually she studied stromatolites, which are, probably most people don't know, they think they're just rocks, but they're microbial ancient reefs. And they're actually made of, it's a fun fact, they're made of the bacteria that created the oxygen in the environment that we are able to breathe.
Wow.
Blue-green algae. So I was working with her, and I sort of had this idea that I wanted to start this organization, and at the time it was called Young Bahamian Marine Scientists. And it really stemmed out of the fact that when I was going into marine science, everyone that I spoke to said, oh, well, what are you going to do? Like, why even do this? Why waste your time? Like, are you just going to work at Atlantis? Because back then that was the only sort of thought that people had if you're doing marine science and you have to work in an aquarium. Okay. And so over the years, it's sort of really developed from what was an organization to just engage Bahamian youth in the environment to an organization that is specifically targeting sort of youth from our public schools, trying to help them develop academically, and then also connect them with the environment. And that really comes from the idea that if you are struggling to meet your basic needs, you're trying to put food on the table, you're working 2 or 3 jobs, and just, you don't have the time to think about me who's like, hey, can you please like protect the sharks?
Yeah.
Because you're like, miss, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, no. So we have to make sure that people are in a place where they can, cover their basic needs, and then they're going to be a lot more inclined to talk about, have these conversations with us. And then on top of that, if you grew up, and every single Saturday you're in the ocean, and then plus you are able to have a good job, then you're going to be that much more inclined to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, now we are clearly surrounded by water, and it's a huge tourist attraction for us. What is the current state, though, of it? Because I feel like sometimes I go on the beach and it's filthy, and we have a lot of dredging going on. So what are some of the issues that we're facing as a country as it pertains to our ocean?
So we're at a really critical junction right now in the Bahamas when it comes to our environment. Things are nowhere near where they should be. But we are, I think, at a point where we can make things better. And I think one of the greatest examples is that we have to look at our Caribbean neighbors, to the south, and even to the U.S. and the Florida Keys to the north. And there are a number of different things that have happened, whether it's overfishing. For example, there's a study that we're working on now. And so Bahamians, we eat grouper and snapper. Like, that's a fish.
Yeah.
And if someone was to bring you a parrotfish or a blue tang, you'd be like,
what is that? Yeah.
But in a lot of the southern countries, that's what they eat because those are the largest fish on the reef.
Okay.
And that's really bad because at that point in time, you've completely destroyed the balance, the equilibrium of the reef. And so the reef becomes dominated in algae, the reef dies, and then the reef isn't able to support, like you just talked about, the important sort of economic benefits. And especially for us in the Bahamas, where we primarily depend on tourists coming here, we have to make sure that our reefs are healthy because they sustain so much of our economy, both directly and indirectly.
Wow.
So Nikita, what are some of the initiatives or measures that we could perhaps take to protect and preserve what we currently have? We know that presently grouper season exists and, conch season, so to speak, but then what are some of the other things that we can do as a whole? Because it's obviously not a quick fix. It's something that's going to take time to get us back to where we should be.
Oh, I think a lot of it has to do with our individual accountability and being aware, and really I think as Bahamians owning the ocean and owning the marine resources, because this is a part of who we are, this is a part of our culture. And it's about when you go to a restaurant and its grouper season is closed, you don't order grouper, regardless of the fact that, well, maybe it was in the freezer, because there's no way for you to really hold them accountable unless be serious. A lot of the restaurants will go around and they'll get, fishermen will come in, and the reality is, especially if you do not know the difference, most Bahamians, although they will tell you otherwise, can't tell the difference between the different fish. Yeah. And we know this because a lot of the restaurants now serve tilapia. And they sell it as grouper. And so I'm very particular. I'm like, what fish is this?
You know what? Let me tell you a story. I tell the restaurants all the time, I'm like, is this tilapia? Because I'm allergic to tilapia. And then they're like, yes, this is not grouper. I'm like, God, I got you, girl.
No, I send it back. I had someone give me mahi once. No, I was ordering mahi, but they gave me tilapia, and I was just like, oh no.
Oh no.
And I was just
Cardinal sin.
Yeah, that is a cardinal sin.
Clearly a difference.
Yeah, I was just like, you can take this back. I'll just have
Let's
a salad.
talk about the support that, because Young Marine Explorers for you is your baby. It's your, that's what everyone knows you for, right? Tell us about the support you've gotten and how you've been able to connect, let's say, with the youth that you've been reaching out to. What impact do you see yourself having?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that even though this organization started as a marine science organization, because you have to look, and I think with conservation, you have to deal with people and you have to deal with the real issues. And when you look at the Bahamas, there's so many challenges that we have with our education system, with our youth development. And so that means for me to really tackle real conservation, I had to deal with sort of some of these youth issues. And I never would have imagined that the organization would have such a positive impact on youth development and really guide and steer some of these young men and women. And I have to say, especially now and with all the crime that's happened this past weekend, I'm so proud of the young men that I have working for me. And then also the young men who've been part of Young Marine Explorers and and stay around. We have an alumni association, and it's just so exciting that, you know, these young men who've started it in the organization 7 years ago, 8 years ago, come back and they mentor some of these students, and they will go out with us on Saturdays.
So it's bigger than you.
It's so much bigger than me. And what's great is that these students, they own it. And it's like, it's a family for them. And they, you know, and I think that's something that I definitely didn't intend to, but it happened. And so that's why I think it's so important for us to maintain it, because we really are changing lives and providing opportunities for students who wouldn't normally have these opportunities.
And you won an Icon Award for that too, right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So that's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of your impact, your work is not only felt here, but other people from around the world have taken interest and taken note in some of the initiatives that you've done. Case in point, Malaysia is coming up for you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So I'm part of an association called the Society of Conservation Biology, and every 2 years, you know, scientists from all over the world come together and share their work. And so this year, in 2018, the conference is going to be in Kuching, Malaysia. And this conference is doing something a bit different, where they want it to have an impact on the local community, where as opposed to just having all these scientists coming together and talking to each other about their work, they also want to see how can these scientists then help conservation in that area. And because of the presentation that I gave at the last conference in Canada, I was explaining about sort of the really community conservation work that I do with young marine explorers. I've been approached by the conference organizers to chair the impact committee and figure out how this conference will have a positive impact in Malaysia.
Nice.
So I leave in 10 days.
From our shores abroad.
That's
amazing.
That's amazing.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So it's been amazing talking to you today. Again, you know, marine life is all around us. We're surrounded by oceans. So just having you here to talk about what we can do to, you know, ensure that we stay sustainable. You know, it's all about trying to continue the beauty that we have and make sure that we sustain our economy, you know, make sure that tourism stays strong, because they are coming here to see our coral reefs, our beautiful waters. So we thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. It's been fantastic.
So after the break, we'll be back, and I think Anika's got a little bit of tips for us. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, you're watching The Stew, and this is your Style Minute. Valentine's Day is finally behind us, and that means it is almost the start of spring, because March is upon us. Absolutely my favorite month of the year. Here's how you can get ready style-wise for this season. First and foremost, get you some pastels and lots of maxi dresses. Spring represents a time of fresh air, fresh flowers, and you want to kind of embody that in what you wear as well. Next up, think prints and, of course, rompers too. This gives you an opportunity to take advantage of the wedge heels in your closets, or even some flip-flops. Try pairing these even with some cute sneaker shoes and you'll be just fine for spring. Next up, accessorize. I mean, what better way to jazz up the pieces that you already have in your closet? Style doesn't mean shopping every single day. So if you have basic colors, stock up on really bright and vibrant costume jewelry to take your wardrobe to the next level. And finally, crop tops, just like the one I'm wearing today from Shop the CC. These are great when they're paired with high-waist trousers or even full-length skirts. This has been your Style Minute. I hope you're getting ready for spring. I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for tuning into The Stew. We certainly appreciated having you, and a special thank you and shout out to Nikita Shiel-Rolle, who shared some information with us on how we can protect our coastlines and our marine environment. And of course, thank you to Anika for those wonderful tips that she provided us with. And we will see you next time. Be sure to follow us all across social media, ILTV Studios, and on Facebook, The Stew Daytime. And we will see you on Friday.
When the vibe is right, we can talk about anything. right